And I swear this is going to be metal AF. It is Car Con Carne, live on, what day is it? It's a Wednesday night. I don't know what day it is.
The 29th.
Thank you. That's the world we live in. That is life under COVID-19. It is Quarantine Con Carne tonight, sponsored by C&H Financial Services. If you are a business owner, C&H Financial Services can help you eliminate 100% of the fees associated with accepting credit and debit cards. Here's a web address. Remember this one, freeprocessingnow.com. That is C&H Financial Services. Thank you for sponsoring the show. C&H.
It's Car Con Carne. Let's eat in the car. It's Car Con Carne. And now here's the star of our show, James Van Alstel.
Me, I'm James Van Alstel, and across Chicago, I have two Huntsmen, two members of Huntsmen. I have Ray and Kirill on the line, on whatever the fuck this is. They are here. Hi, guys. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Yeah, thank you.
And we are live, as mentioned, on Facebook. I'm going to pull that up so that we can interact and people can, share their thoughts and enjoy with you. So what I wrote when I just posted the video, the coolest concept album of 2020 is Mandala of Fear by Chicago prog doom stoner sci-fi metal band Huntsmen. Get those horns up in the air. This album is something special. This is a big, sprawling, epic piece of work and a true album. I mean, we live in a time when music is consumed a la carte. People consume songs one at a time. This is a legit album meant to be taken in as a complete statement. So I guess the question is, was the intent going into it to create a concept album, or did the concept album come out of the writing process and just kind of, did it just start presenting itself as a thematic piece of work?
Well, some of our previous releases had been based on stories and like kind of concepts that we've come up with. And we kind of wanted to extend that story for this album. And when we started it, we didn't, we're the type of band where we don't care how long anything is, we're kind of a doom band anyway. So that's kind of par for the course, long songs and drawn out, sometimes boring things. But so when we started writing, it was a complete open book. We could just do whatever we want, take as much time as we wanted to. We wanted to tell the story, and regardless of how long that takes. So our guitar player and kind of main songwriter, Chris, he came up with the story and then just started laying down like little videos and little sound recordings of riffs and stuff that he'd made up, and started writing down little tidbits of the story. And as we started developing that and started writing, we really, like early on, found out that it was going to be long as fuck, and it was going to be 13 songs. Like, he had these 13 ideas, and we weren't sure how they were going to fit into place or how it was going to work, but immediately we all just kind of came together and we talked to Prosthetic, and we're like, hey, this album that we've been talking about, it's going to be like 85 minutes long.
Yeah.
And that definitely kind of like raised some eyebrows, but once we started like showing the songs off to them and started really talking up the concept and like how we wanted to do it, they were completely on board, and then it spiraled into this crazy thing that it became.
Yeah, it was. We basically had like a board on the wall in our rehearsal space with the title of songs and like in temporary titles and such, and it was just like number one, and then it was just this timeline of just, this is how it's gonna go. And then at times we would be writing the songs, and we'd perform the songs, or we'd get to a section, and it would be like, like Mark, our bassist, would sit down and be like, this is how I'm feeling about this section. And it would be like, we would go in and start almost writing to the feel, opposed to just like us just jamming the fuck out and just having a great time. Hopefully I could swear, but jamming the fuck out.
Hey, I think I beat you to it tonight.
Okay.
So yeah.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's earlier. Fuck it. So jamming the fuck out, it was just like, all right, we can jam the fuck out, but have a certain feel to the story and just kind of vibe with it. So yeah, it was something.
Yeah, moving forward, I think with my podcast, when I'm hitting like the last 10 minutes when it's time to wrap up, I'm just going to fire off Awake at Time's End just as my warning to know when to wrap up the podcast.
Let's go.
Yeah, when the song starts to trail off. Okay, that's all the time we have. Thanks for joining me. Did you guys grow up with concept albums? Like I as a kid, loving rock, loving metal, and those were always the coolest to me. That's the stuff you nerded out about with your friends.
Oh yeah. Well, for me, like I was really, really into like really hardcore punk back in the day, and most of those songs are just like slop, just thrown onto an album in the best way possible. But there was no concept, almost at all. Maybe lyrically there could be a little bit, but as a drummer, I always was just like, is it fast and harsh? Like I'm into it. And then I started like getting into like some classic metal and stuff, and like Iron Maiden, especially, I was just like, oh my God, this is what a concept could be. It could be this epic thing, and the music takes you on that journey. And that's kind of where I started really loving it. And then that took me to like the Mars Volta, Deloused in the Comatorium.
Yeah.
When that album came out, I was like, to me, that was like what a modern band at that time could do to make a concept album that wasn't like a Iron Maiden like metal voyage. Is something that could be experimental, it could be weird, and they could do whatever they wanted, and you're just kind of along for the ride.
Yeah, that was the exact same thing for me. It was just like I grew up on pop punk and like Southern California punk rock, so listening like Rancid and like old Blink and Green Day and things like that. And then
we are.
Yeah, right. And then I listened to Deloused as well back in high school, and I was like, I was a big like At the Drive-In fan as well at the time, and I was like, and then there was that split of, do you go Sparta or do you go Mars Volta?
That's exactly it. Choose your side.
Yeah, right, exactly. I did my best. I was like, I love, what was it, Tim Ward, and I loved his voice. So I was like, I'm gonna try to do the Sparta thing with wiretaps, and then I was like, holy shit, fucking Deloused was one of the weirdest, coolest things I've ever heard in my life. So at that point, I was just like, oh, I'd be fucking sick to just have a theme running out through the whole album, and just hearing that for the first time, I was blown the fuck away. And then Francis the Mute also was just like, this is fucking amazing too.
Dude, I even remember buying Deloused in the Comatorium and not realizing that bands could have tracks that extended through track 1 to 2, like the music continuously goes. So I remember like I got it, I took it home, I smoked a fat joint, and I was just listening, and I was like, when is this fucking song going to end? Like, this is ridiculous. And I was like, oh, I'm on track like 5 already.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I did that with jukeboxes with Francis the Mute, because they have what's the name of the track that's basically like 6 tracks through the half portion of the album. So we would request it on jukeboxes because you could get it for like $1.50, but it'd be going for like 25 minutes. So me and my friends would get drunk at a bar with one of our friends who was a bar back, and just put that on and just sit there.
Like ruin the rest of the people's lives.
Yeah. That's exactly right. I want to say hi to Giorgio, who used the devil horn emoji to show appreciation, as you do. Ben says, way to be on brand with the beer.
Oh, yes.
Hold that up.
That's right.
Look at that.
Look at that.
I got all our brands on here.
Yes, you do. The way to market. I mean, that's key. It's a visual medium here.
We won't be able to understand him by the end of the show, but it's fine.
So far, you're pretty articulate. We'll see. We'll see what once we hit that 10-minute mark.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We'll see where we're at.
Now that you can't do in the car. I tell you what.
Thank you. Yeah. Exactly right. That's one of the benefits. Thank goodness for the pandemic. It's really made things easier for me. I want to say hi to Justin and to Kat and to Lori and to Mick and to Dick, who are all watching on Facebook Live. Thank you for doing that. I know you had nowhere else to be, but we do appreciate you watching and listening. It's Huntsmen. That's Huntsmen right there. Let's talk a little bit about the album. There's so much that I like on the album, and you started to allude to it earlier. Yes, lyrics tell a story, but music tells a story too. And there's something to be said for the way the music, the compositions on this album build and have structure, and they kind of go along with it. For example, the song Bone Cathedral. This is a song that is relentlessly dark and without hope. That is conveyed lyrically and I think musically too.
Yeah. that was a real fun and amazing song to track. Like, I think the first time we ever played it, when we played it in a rehearsal, we weren't sure what the hell it was. You know, it's basically like a 6-7 chord progression for about 3 minutes. I think it's one of the shorter songs on the album.
Yeah.
And it was weird. Like, Chris brought it, and we were kind of playing with it. We were unsure of what's going on. I think we just weren't in the right headspace at the moment. But then after a certain point, we kept playing it, and then we were playing it in concession with like the rest of the tracks, right? And the way that we have everything positioned, and just ended up feeling much better. And then when we recorded it, I was able to make it sound almost like a weird, at least with guitar wise, with like weird cathedral, very, very dark
reverb.
Yeah, just it's very, very odd. And it was
dark is the word that keeps coming up when I think of that song.
I've mentioned it before, like it's one of my favorite songs in the album, and like I can't wait to play that live and try to pull it off live. It's just beautiful. It's just mesmerizing, and it's, you know, it's a lot of emotion.
And going back to the music telling the story, this is one of the things I love about making the album itself was, you know, since the story came first, mostly, you know, we had the task of telling the story through the music, through the dynamics and the emotions that you can get of playing what, you know, minor or dissonant chords or whatever, or major chords, you know, and how that translates to a feeling that you get when you listen to it, and then how that translates to how you're, you know, if it, say it was a movie, how that movie would, you know, have tried to make you feel or something. And I mean, that was definitely the hardest part about it, but in the end, you know, I'm really, really glad that we did it that way, because I think it made the music more interesting, but also pushes the story forward, and it really gets those ideas into your mind without having to be so literal about everything. You know, everything that we do is kind of shrouded in metaphor and symbolism and in the first place anyway. So telling a literal story through music, you know, we have instrumental tracks on the album too.
Right.
It's like it's not an easy thing to do, but I think it comes across pretty well. You know,
absolutely,
not biased at all.
And the theme is apocalyptic, and the album came out mid-March just as things became apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Timing is everything. Maybe this is a little too close to reality for people. Maybe this is too scary for them to
well,
dude, it was something.
This is funny because I think about this kind of a lot, because I mean, one, it sucks because our tours got canceled. We should be in Europe right now. That all got canceled. But at the same time, we're releasing an 80-minute album that people barely have time, or
that's it,
to listen to one song at a time. So now maybe that's a little bit more incentive to kind of listen to the whole thing through and actually give it the chance that it deserves. Because, in the long run, it's like putting out an album like this is risky, because, you know, we're on a record label, Prosthetic, and you know, we have to sell some copies too, and it's not an easy sell to say, here's 80 minutes of music, listen to it all at once to get the full picture of the story. But I think a lot of people have latched on to it, and even going from like the themes and everything, you know, this Mandala of Fear, it's like this kind of guided spiritual journey to find peace and solace and strength and resilience through chaos and fear. It's like, how much more appropriate for the times could it possibly be? I don't know.
Another thing I like, the word balance comes to mind when I listen to the album. And right out of the gate, that harmony balance, the male female, I love that. And then there's that balance of kind of noodly, musically intricate music, balanced with wall of sound, beat the shit out of you, just pummeling. And it's just a really delicate balance throughout the album. It's quiet, loud. It's intricate. It's fucking raging. I love it.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. I think it's because of our backgrounds of where we've all come musically. I mean, Ray coming from the hardcore, you know, grindcore stuff. Me coming from, I guess, post-rock, alternative stuff. Chris going from the grunge, alternative rock stuff. And then you have Mark, who is this classic guy that he names things I've never heard of all the fucking time. I'm like,
Master.
Yeah, it's just beyond me. And it's just this weird thing of we're also conscious of like, why the fuck not of combining all that into something that's cohesive rather than just like we have a song where there's a fucking hard pause and we switch into a weird yes variant and whatever it is, and then we go hardcore and like shit like that. I like it because it's sometimes unexpected, but at the same time, if you do that for fucking 3 albums, especially for an 80-minute album, if you keep doing that for 13 tracks, at a certain point, I'm like, okay, you guys clearly don't know how to write cohesively to what your inspirations are. So I think for us, it's just been like weird. Somehow we get in a room and we're all like, this is what we should do.
The big part about it is that just having fun. Like we have nothing that's off limits. Yeah. If we wanted to write a 30-second grindcore song, everyone would be on board. If we wanted to do a completely acoustic folk album, everyone would be on board. Maybe not me because I'm a drummer and that shit sucks because I don't have a job. But
dude, I'm a sucker for folk metal. Just so we're clear, I can listen to Corporate Clowny all day long.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I love that stuff too. But in general, it's just like when we go to write, it is completely up in the air, and we can take it in any direction that we completely want. No one ever argues with it. The only thing we ever argue about is like, well, maybe we should do this part, maybe we should do that part, because we all throw out so many ideas in the songwriting process. But yeah, that's one of the best parts about the band is how just accepting everyone is of everyone else's opinion and everyone else's ideas and how we want to get whatever's in our mind across musically and and so forth.
Yeah, we have a tendency to just like sleep on it as well, right? I think a lot of bands are like when in the fucking moment, if you don't do it right or you don't like it, then it's like that's it, game over. For us, we have a tendency if we record what we did that's new or something slightly different, we're like, all right, well, let's sleep on that and come back on rehearsal whenever it is, and then we'll be like, oh man, I might actually like this, or like everyone's still pretty good about not liking it, and it's good. We're conscious of each other's feelings, but we know how to tell each other that like, yeah.
It could be firm but fair.
Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So
you mentioned the instrumentals, and there are a few in there. Pirates of the Waste is one that to me feels especially cinematic. Tell me about that.
That one was super fun to write because immediately like the part in the story that that song portrays is these raiders riding through the desert to come across our protagonists' like army sector that had just gotten like bombarded by the storm. So they were kind of stranded in the storm and everyone was all fucked up or whatever. And these raiders see it and they come to kind of loot and kill and pillage and stuff. So immediately with that in mind, we came up with this like 6/8 kind of gallop thing that I start out the song with Mark playing the bass line, and it literally is just like mimicking the gallop of a bunch of horses coming into play, and then how we take that into like some giant crushing doomsday rippage by the end,
Yeah.
It's awesome. And I want to mention this Friday's the 1st, right? I don't know dates or days at all anymore. Bandcamp is again waiving its fees from all sales that artists make of their music and merch. I love this. They did it a couple weeks ago. I bought a bunch of stuff, realized I wished I was independently wealthy because I wanted to buy everything. This is a great opportunity. Your new album is on vinyl.
Yes.
And this is about, I can't think of a cooler album package this year that you're going to find because it's a double album on vinyl and it includes a graphic novel that ties into the album. A graphic novel. Tell me about that.
Whoa, yeah.
Danny.
So this kind of came about. Well, one, we knew when we had as much music as we had, we wanted this big, giant gatefold layout, right? To just present this in the biggest way possible. So I actually painted the cover back and the middle design for it, showing this kind of scenes of this apocalyptic world, right? And then at the same time, as we were tossing around ideas of cool things we can do with the packaging or whatever, I think it was Chris came up with the idea where he was just like, man, this would be cool if we had some kind of visual representation of this story, because it can be such a literal, thing. And then immediately, to my mind, I have a friend, Danny White, who I've been watching his art kind of progress over the years, and he has been doing these comics, and some of them are based in like an apocalyptic world in the sand and all this stuff. And immediately I texted Chris. I was like, check out his Instagram account. We should have this dude do it. And besides the fact that I know he's a really awesome artist, I've known him for years, and he's just like a really down-to-earth, like little punk kid. And he's not pretentious about trying to, like, I don't know, take our story to something else, or I don't know. You know what I mean? He's just the kind of person who does things out of the love for what he likes to do. So it was the perfect idea to make the graphic novel. So we sent him the story, and I remember he came over to my house with Chris, and we had like a little storyboard out. And at that time I was like, well, maybe we could do like just a drawing and then like the lyrics to the song and do one for each song. And then Danny immediately was like, dude, this should be like a full comic's worth of material. I mean, I can picture these characters and all these things happening like immediately. And so we're like, fine, dude, just go for it. And a couple months probably later, he sent us this first couple sketches, and we were like, dude, there's no other person that I know of that could have taken our like ramblings of this story and turned it into such a cohesive interpretation of our story like he did.
Cool.
It's like perfect.
Yeah, that was great.
As I'm listening to you talk about this, and as we're talking about an 80-minute apocalyptic concept metal album, there is no reason that every male in America shouldn't be naming you their favorite band. I mean,
I agree.
This is like catnip to all guys. Everything you're talking about right now.
I would think
beer.
so.
Jesus.
Got everything.
So again, sure, you can listen to the album, you can stream it, but I especially because no one can tour right now, I've been trying to point people to ways to support artists that put some money in your pockets. I think Bandcamp's probably a great avenue for any band, whether it's Huntsmen or another band you want to support, an independent band. All the fees or royalties go directly to the bands on Friday, which kicks ass. And I think what's the new album? $30? A value at any price.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Keep
an eye on it. Who knows? Maybe something will pop up on Friday. I don't know.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
Oh, really? Okay, good. So again, the new album is Mandala of Fear. And I should mention, you're a Chicago band.
That's right.
Yes.
But real quick, before we go, your song's playing us out. Talk about coming up through Chicago as a band, through the Chicago scene.
All right. So I am originally from Latvia. So I moved to Illinois, Chicago suburbs, when I was around like 7 or 8 years old.
And you quickly acclimated. You started watching professional wrestling.
Eating hot dogs and shit.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, totally. Actually, funny enough, like when I first got into the country, it's like my mom and her sister were here for ages before I was. And I flew out here by myself on a plane. And like first time I got here and I started going into school and stuff like that, it was like I was waking up to like Whitney Houston and Will Smith in the mornings, because I had like the alarm clock, it would go off and it would be like the local radio station, whatever it was. I think it might have been actually B96 at that point, but it was just nothing but like Will Smith and Whitney, and I was like, oh, okay, I guess this is what American music is. And I'd go to school and like barely speak Russian or barely speak English, and it was fucking weird. Like it was it was like a culture shock. Like when I was back out in Latvia, I guess not Russia, but Latvia, but I wasn't hearing much music. It was just like me dressing up in nice little suits, going to school across the street through a fucking like a dirt road, because we had our apartment building, and you like go around the apartment building through all this dirt road to get to school, and you're wearing this nice little blazer and everything like that. And growing up was interesting. A lot of scary shit, man.
But as far as like the band goes, as far as the band coming up through Chicago.
Oh yeah, for I was like, I don't know what I'm talking about. My life story, you want to hear?
It started back in Latvia,
yeah,
a little later than that.
A little later than that. Oh yeah, I mean, for the band, so like myself, Chris, and Mark have been playing music in several bands prior to, and I actually met Mark and Chris. God, I don't even fucking know how long ago, but we used to play in the band called the Gorilla Press, right? And so that happened, and then we progressed from there, and we started Huntsmen because at one point we were on a phone call and we're like, we need to do something a little bit different, and just like we were getting into a habit of just not enjoying it as much. And Mark was like, cowboy metal doom, I guess. What was
my first exposure was the Colonel.
Yeah.
I remember hearing, when I heard
that.
that for the first time, I'm like, I don't know anyone else who's doing stuff like this in Chicago.
Yeah, and I think you played Hunt for Food at some point, maybe?
Yeah.
Or was the Colonel?
I think it was the Colonel. I played on Demo 312. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And I was just like, wow, that's so fucking cool that somebody I used to listen to on the fucking radio all the time would be like, oh, let's play this little wiener band. So.
Yeah, back when I was playing, Whitney Houston songs, waking me up in the morning.
Yeah. But personally for me, it's just like I was in a lot of like instrumental and metal Deftone bands prior to the Huntsmen. And that's kind of where I like grinded my teeth, I guess. It's in high school I did my pop punk thing, and then I did a little bit of hardcore. I progressed from there and got more and more serious. I used to play bass initially, and just ended up meeting a bunch of dudes that
I think for as far as like, more recent Huntsman stuff, right? I joined the band, I don't know, 2016 or something, maybe. And the Colonel was just about to be released, and then we were already writing American Scrap. And immediately, like at that point, I think I used to live at this DIY space that would have shows called the Beerix. That was like a just really debaucherous warehouse in Wicker Park, and like we had a giant mini ramp inside. All my roommates skated, and we'd have shows on the mini ramp. It was really awesome, but I really got into like the DIY scene at that point, where I was just like going to all these other places like Treasure Town on the Pilsen, and all these weird spots. And then being in Huntsman, it was kind of like take that aesthetic, that kind of DIY aesthetic, but bring it to proper sound equipment and being able to do these like really dynamic things and harmonies and all this other things live, which isn't as easy, in a shitty basement or something. But it, immediately, like when we started playing out, things have kind of just like spiraled a little bit. I mean, we're by no means a huge band at all, but progressively more fans are coming out to shows, more people are supporting us. All of our really close friends are in really awesome bands. We all go to each other's shows. We all support each other. We buy each other's merch. We buy the records. It's like the scene here is like so supportive, and even the venues, it's like, well, you reach out to a promoter and ask him how he's doing, and it's just like we made lifelong friends through industry workers and everybody like that. It's like, I don't know of a better scene than in Chicago, especially for just the like camaraderie and the brotherhood between bands. I don't know.
That's always awesome to hear. And again, I said it a little bit ago, Huntsmen are like catnip to men. Guys, get in on this band, and ladies too. I mean, there's so much to admire, and look at these guys. Who wouldn't want to get behind them? The new album is Mandala of Fear. I love it. It's 80 minutes of just epic awesomeness. And if you buy the vinyl, it comes with a goddamn graphic novel. That's it. That's everything right there. Guys, are you doing okay in quarantine? Are you holding up all right?
Yeah, we're doing all right. I'm working from home, and I've been painting a lot, trying to just stay on top of the place, hanging out with my puppy and Amy. And, I'm doing all right.
Yeah, I've been all right. Just Animal Crossing and drinking.
There it is. Well, you and the rest of America. That and maybe the Bulls documentary on Sunday nights. That's really the extent of it.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
All right, guys, thank you. And again, if you're watching, if you're listening, their music is everywhere. You can stream it everywhere. You can support them on Bandcamp. Friday is a great day, especially to do it. Thank you, Huntsman. I'm going to say goodbye to everyone on Facebook Live. Thank you, everyone who's been watching. Patty's there, and Chris and David. My dear friend Tim is there. John and Robert. Thank you one and all for doing that. I'm going to kill the Facebook Live. And I think I am. I almost pushed the wrong button. Now I am.